Good morning, everyone. This is POW Weather. In this update, we've got a major ice storm unfolding with heavy snow as conditions continue to rapidly deteriorate. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to do a quick update this morning because I don't know how long I'm actually going to have power in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So let's go over the details. It's early. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm waking up early to do this video, and we've got ice, a lot of ice in Dallas. I've got a lot of ice in my house right now. It's 25 degrees and it's still heavy freezing rain and sleet. We already an inch has already fallen at the DFW airport, but a lot of places in Texas are getting a lot of ice at the moment, and this continues through Arkansas, up through portions of Tennessee and Kentucky, going through southern portions of Illinois and Ohio as this continues to move across, and we got heavy snow on the backside as this will move through off to the east. We've got some severe weather to talk about too. We're still in the warm sector down here into New Orleans area. They're going to be seeing some stronger thunderstorms today, and some of those could be marginally risk severe with an isolated tornado threat as well. So it's definitely not out of the question to see one or two spin ups down here before, because they're still in the warm sector with temperatures at 68 degrees this morning. So as we look at the expansion of the hazard index, man, for the second year in a row, the entire state of Texas is under some sort of winter weather advisory. Almost the entire state of Texas, what they dealt with last February. So a lot of impacts in Texas with power outages continued to rapidly go up, and widespread, warnings and watches with ice storm warnings, and all the way through Kentucky, through the Ohio Valley, into winter storm warnings, and this spreads all the way into portions of northern New England as this system will continue to move across into the east. But yeah, I snapped a picture of my backyard. It's a lot of ice out there, guys, and my tree is about to fall. I mean, it's just piling up. I've got over an inch of rain, and all that's just been freezing. The temperature's 24 degrees and is continuing to fall with rain. So that's a very unusual setup because of that warm nose aloft that we talked about. And a lot of that's going to be falling, but unfortunately it's going to be falling as rain, and everything's going to be freezing on contact and cause a travel nightmare and pretty much paralyzation of the city, and people can't go anywhere and drive in that ice as continues to rapidly deteriorate. But it should change over to snow. I mean, we're expecting to change over to snow into portions of Dallas, getting in as we get into the daylight hours. And then it should last a couple hours. So we're still going to get some ice further off to the south and places into Austin. That'll swing into portions of Houston. So Houston's under a winter weather advisory, all the way down to Corpus Christi's under a winter weather advisory. So they're going to be getting touches of some ice in those areas. But a lot of ice is still going to be building as we get into 9 o'clock in the morning on this morning, in and around the Arkansas area. That'll shift over to western Tennessee, to western Kentucky here, southern parts of Illinois and Ohio, and then that heavier snow to the north and to Missouri, to Illinois, to Indiana, to Ohio, and that'll swing across into the mid-Atlantic. So we got rain to the south and all that mixed precipitation to the north. And as we continue to through and this afternoon, we've got that ice continue to shift further off to the south in Texas. The snow ends in Dallas. It's starting to wind down in Oklahoma. And then now it's shifting off a little bit further off into the east, and it's sagging just a little south. So we're going to have a lot of rain, heavier rain building out. You can see the thunderstorms down here by New Orleans, by Mobile, getting into Birmingham area. They're going to be seeing some stronger to severe thunderstorms today. And then we'll have that sharp gradient of that cutoff with that shallow cold air mass. And then we'll have that heavier snow to the north. And so as we expand, look at the temperatures by this afternoon. The temperatures actually continue to fall. So your widespread teens in and around the Dallas, widespread teens in the Panhandle, widespread teens in Oklahoma, all this has seen all ice and snow. So everything is, obviously not going to melt. It's just going to be solid ice out there across Arkansas and Missouri, going to parts of Illinois and Indiana. This whole swath is widespread 20s. Once you reach below 28 degrees, that is all going to stick on the roadways and the surfaces, and that's what we're seeing. So widespread disruptions across the U.S. This week and going through the next couple of days, as this heavier snow by tomorrow morning will shift off into our mid-Atlantic states, and now we're places into Pennsylvania will start getting some of that heavier snow. Going into upstate New York, into Vermont and New Hampshire, going into northern Maine, and then down to the south, we'll have that ice shift over into, eastern parts of PA, southern New York, getting into places into Massachusetts, going into southern New Hampshire, southern Vermont here, as well as southern Maine, as we'll have that rain on the south side. And as we continue to expand into tomorrow afternoon on Friday, yeah, that snow continues to shift off into Maine. We'll just have a transition into that sleet and icy mix in much of southern New England, Rhode Island, and off the Cape here as this continues to shift and move across. But look at the ice; it's still going to come over the next 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours here. We've got all that ice still left building in Texas. That's going to cause even more insult to the ice that's already fallen. And then heavier ice will continue into Arkansas, going into portions of western Tennessee, western Kentucky, go through West Virginia here, southern Ohio, going through the middle part of Pennsylvania, all the way up into Massachusetts, going into Rhode Island, along the Cape here, and southern New Hampshire and Vermont. And then there's the sleet. So we got a pretty good swath of sleet in a lot of these same areas as well. So as a sleet and kind of, icy rain mix. And then there's the snow on the backside. So several inches of snow in and around Dallas before all this is said and done. A little bit heavier amounts as this continues to move across through Arkansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, going through Ohio, northern PA again. So there's going to be a sharp gradient on who gets the heavier snow, who gets the heavier sleet and freezing rain, and who gets just all rain to the south of you. But heavier snow looks to be building in Vermont, New Hampshire, and especially going into Maine as this thing just kind of winds down and wrings itself out as we go through Friday afternoon into Saturday morning. But there's the current power outages in Texas, about 44,000 folks without power, 11,000 in Oklahoma. But I think this is just the beginning of things going to start rapidly deteriorating over the next 24 to 48 hours. And a lot of these places, as that ice continues to build and the winds still whip out there with those gusts of 30 to 35 miles an hour, with those tree lines, power lines and the trees starting to really weigh and really sag. Well, I'm hearing a lot of reports of branches coming off. So I wanted to get this report in early because I'm not sure how long I'm going to have power today with these conditions that are unfolding. But the next 5 days, it's going to take a long time for everything to melt in and around Texas. So I do feel you're going to stay well below average for an extended period of time, at least the next 5 days. In several places couldn't not even get above freezing for the next several days with all that ice and snow on the ground. But predominantly you stay below average for a good chunk of the south and portions of the northeast for the next 5 days. And appears beyond that, we have another surge of cold front. So it appears after we get around the 10th time frame, I'm looking at another possibility of another cold front pushing down from Canada. So we have those below average anomalies building in. If you take a look at the overall 500 millibar on the hemisphere view, you can actually see that as the ridge will continue to build out west. We're starting to dry out and kind of heat up out west with these above average temperatures out in our western areas in our Pacific Northwest. And we have another trough getting back in the midsection of the country, going through the Ohio Valley again, possibly spreading some more colder air. And then maybe another setup as we get towards that 10th and 11th time frame, because as that continues to push through, this ridge will be locked over here off west, and then we have that trough coming in. So that'll be another system I'm kind of eyeing in the future of after this one kind of winds down and moves across. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you hadn't already, and catch me in the next update where I protect you for and after the storm.